So hello everybody, welcome to the Webmasters Posse and our weekly roundup. So far everybody's here except the guest speaker. But this has happened once before, so we're just going to persevere and know that they will show up. So thank you all for attending. I just got, David just accepted my friends on Facebook again, so I've got the right personality.
What was that?
And, well, I didn't have the most recent David as a friend on Facebook for some strange reason, but there was more than one David Marshall, so until he responded, I didn't know whether I'd found the right one.
You can't have too many David Marshall friends.
That's obviously a common name.
Only if he isn't challenged by Google technology. Every one of us has been locked out at least once since we started this bold adventure in Google Hangout. It's sort of like working with the government or the military. It works, but not when you want it to or in the way you ever possibly imagined it would.
Good analogy.
I like ribbing on the government right now. They're doing a lot of stupid things, so it really does make things really easy when you want to poke fun at them.
See David trying to come in?
Yes. He's probably got to download the software because the first time you do Webinar Jam, there's a 2-minute lag time where your Google account hooks up with the Hangout stuff, and you type in your Google username and your password and identify yourself to the Google,
I think I'm here, guys.
Oh, David!
Oh, hey! Welcome. If you think you're here, you are.
Oh, somebody's used Agnes's link to join us, so you're fun.
Oh, Agnes.
Hello, David. Welcome to our noon Webmasters Posse meeting.
Excellent. My desktop here at the office doesn't have a camera, so you'll have to look at that blank screen for me.
Oh, David, hi.
Hi, Robin.
We'll get somebody in tech to put your picture up on your Google account, so at least we'll have a warm picture of you to represent you when you're talking.
Fair enough.
Because we know you're not that blank space.
Yeah, no, I don't use my Google email very often at all. I just happen to have one.
I understand. Everybody has to have one, and almost nobody that isn't in directly in the marketing business uses it. But online, almost everything you need to track your people is done through Google, so you end up using your Google account by default because that's how Google identifies and tracks you and all your activities, and you want to keep those all counted because it helps towards your ranking for your activities.
Understood.
Yeah, so it's one of those things I've learned as I've progressed online that part of the solution is to get yourself branded and everything counting to one place where all your accounts are registered and tracked. Otherwise, you'll never add up to accumulate any data that supports you being an expert or people wanting to know you for your knowledge, because that's sort of how one of the algorithms works. It's how many people not just that comment on your stuff, but the amount of people that follow you or repeatedly follow you has something to do with whether they rank you high or low. If people only ever interact with you once and they not again, they're probably not going to rank that as high as if they interact with you 3 times in the next month.
Fair enough.
One of the scariest things is somewhere somebody's counting all these things and keeping track of it. I don't know if I really like that, but it just seems to be how the world works. So to start things off, sorry?
I just kid yourself that there's an actual person doing that. That's what computers are for.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd like to think that there's some person sorting it at some point. If the computer's doing all on his own and making his own decisions without input from a programmer, I'm really worried now. So, David, I'm going to let the group introduce themselves. One of the things we do at these meetings is we work on our 2 or 3 minute elevator speech or introduction that we're going to use when we interact with other people in a business capacity. So I'm going to let each one of my friends and supporters share what they do and what they're passionate about as sort of an introduction to them and what they do and what brought them to this group. So I'm going to let Agnes lead us off because she was one of those first people that came to this forum with me and helped make it work.
Hi, David. How are you doing today?
I'm well, Agnes. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So I actually, in fact, live in the same town as Michael Courtney, and I have a business that basically I talk to pre-retirement women who have, like me, lost a huge chunk of their retirement savings, and their retirement started to look a little different. So I work with them, encourage them, and coach them to develop an online business so that they can reclaim their retirement dreams. That, in a nutshell, is what I do.
Nice.
Oh, am I supposed to talk for 3 minutes, Michael?
You don't have to.
I do have a corral of possibilities. I won't say opportunities, but possibilities for possible development, because I feel really strongly that somebody has to connect with a business model or what they're marketing. It's not a one size fits all. So Immunotech is part of my corral, and I do use the product. So that's one of the reasons it's nice being able to chat with you today.
Excellent. Well, I'm actually, from a lot of different angles, looked at online marketing and have worn different hats here at Immunotech and elsewhere that have interacted with lead generation and such. But feel very privileged that Michael invited me to really expand my knowledge about how others are using the internet to generate, whether it be income or contacts or to share information. So thank you for including me.
All right, Peter, are you ready to introduce yourself?
I'm always ready to introduce myself. I was born ready. Hi, everybody. This is Peter Pocklington, and what I do is develop leaders who develop leaders. I am passionate about the works of Napoleon Hill, Andrew Carnegie, and Wallace Wattles, and I believe that they provide the foundation of disciplines that are required in order for people to be successful in life, whatever they may choose. My personal passion is that to teach middle-income families the rules of money, since how can you win any game if no one's bothering to teach you the rules? And certainly the banks and insurance companies and the debt industry have no vested interest to help normal middle-income families to swim the straits among the sharks. So that's me in a nutshell.
Well said.
Eloquent, Peter.
All right, Robin, I know that David knows you and knows your story, but I'd still like you to give the piece you've been working on with us so he can see the improvement in how you share what you're passionate about.
Thank you, Michael. Absolutely. And David, I was thrilled when we discovered that you were back with Immunotech. I think that you are a vital piece in that organization, and I'm grateful that we have you as a resource. Robin Defoe, everybody here understands my passion for Immunical because it saved my life. That's the health portion, and that is also why I have a deeper understanding of Michael's mission, which is to share his health journey as well. But I'm a techno nerd, dweeb, no, none of those things. I'm a Luddite, and so I rely heavily on Michael and his new path of learning about marketing on the internet, because I believe that that's how things are going to move. I'm in a position now where I'm living with my mom, and my time is no longer as free, or as I'm not able to structure it as well as I used to. So I need to have a business that I can now do from right where I sit. And Michael has been an enormous help with that. And by the way, the new sales floor, I really, really like what he's doing with it. I like the look of it. I like what it allows people to, how it allows people to interact the way the old one didn't. And I can't even explain how that is because of my inability to do that technology talk, but I think, and if I can help Michael, it will help all of us in the Immunotech business as well. I think we have a lot of people, because of the entry of Immunotech and Immunical into our lives. It was always product, it was always health, and the older generation are the ones who needed the most help. I understand we're now shifting, thank goodness, to athletes and younger people, but those of us who are in that older space need some guidance and some support and some help and some person-to-person on the computer to really put forward our marketing and our how we can interact with the world. Michael is writing his book. I think, David, I'm so grateful that you are part of Michael's circle now, and you can help him with maybe getting some authentication for the research. Something like that would be awesome. But just the fact that you're able to guide us through this, to me, totally new environment of computers and internet. I can talk to a person I meet on the street, but I've not been able to connect in this medium, and I have to now because my life now doesn't give me that same freedom to go out and do that person to person. I need to do it this way. I think that's it.
That is so good, Robin. I think you clearly stated, and between the three people you've heard from, David, I think you've seen the three pieces of the same demographic that you may or may not have had the chance to interact with in this sort of form. And one of the reasons we've gone to this particular format, you can do meetings on YouTube, or sorry, not on YouTube, on Skype, but unless you have paid Skype, you can only get 6 people on a meeting. Here we can get 10 people on that can interact, and once somebody's talked, we can actually drop somebody off, so we can always have 10 people interacting and do 11, 12, 13 people if we have the need. So that's one of the real cool advantages about this technology. The other thing that the Webinar Jam technology has provided for all of us is a way to interact in the first person. Because for me in particular, the first year I was online, I was really struggling with my inability to edit myself and my work. And until Agnes came along beside me and started doing some professional editing, my use of the language was slowing me down. Once I got comfortable doing videos about 8 or 9 months ago, I found that this was a much better medium for me, and that brought me to the training format that you see in front of you. We all get together once a week for 1 hour, and the focus is to work on our intercommunication skills in a group environment online, because we've learned that all the successful leaders online are hosting small meetings to grow their following and spread their information. So by gathering like this in an organized fashion once a week and people working together in small groups of 8, 10, 12 people, they can all work on their skills as well as their presentation, and they can each decide what part of the Immunotech story they're going to sell and support, because for each one of us, what brought us to the company is completely different. And it's in identifying what our story is that will set us apart from all the other people out in this field. I keep hearing over and over and over again for the last 2 years how the only way you're going to make money is by using some tool service or some support company like MLSP or Six Figure Mentors or the Daily Marketing Coach platform I was on, and that your MLM would sort of be subsidized by your other affiliate marketing stuff online. And I find that that is sad and disappointing, because all the companies, and don't take this personally, David, the company line is, come work with us and you're going to make $1 million sometime in your life. And after 13 years in the business model, I swear hasn't been my truth. So I'm going to turn the floor over to you for a few minutes. What I'd like you maybe to spend the first 3 minutes doing is sharing who you are, what you do, and what you're passionate about, just like each of us has, because that's sort of the tradition at this forum. So I'm going to leave the floor to you, David.
Thank you, Michael, and I really thank Peter and Agnes and Robin for your time and including me in this hour. And you know, I guess before I talk a little bit about myself, what I was hoping to get out of this was to understand sort of what the online environment means to each of you, and how much of it is it balanced between sort of community and a way of reaching out and having relationships? Is it business focused, and is it all of the above, and sort of the different platforms that are used? Because I see the online communities that I've been a part of and that I've grown, and I've interacted with some people, but most of the people who are profiting through their business seem to be doing so outside of their online communities. And that's been my experience, and I'm trying to find ways that we can, as a corporation at Immunotech, bridge some of those gaps and work smarter. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a 43-year-old professional, university degree, and I've spent most of my working career here with Immunotech, apart from some, before Immunotech, some management roles in restaurant and the hospitality industry, and in a brief sabbatical for just under 2 years where I ran an inside call center for a large vacation rental company. But most of my professional career has been here at Immunotech, and I've worn a lot of different hats: customer service, operations, marketing, communications, and sales. And what I love about Immunotech is that I'm a part of an organization where I do get to see people's lives impacted every day, and impacted both in a health and in a financial way. And I know that, Michael, your experience has been very strong on the health side, and not so strong, you've shared, on the financial side. And that's something that we've just really started touching the tip of the iceberg in terms of our conversations on how that may or may not change, and you have some decisions to make and where your head's at and what you want to invest in. But this industry, I find, aligns very well with goals, and when people set realistic goals of whether that's a few hundred or a few thousand or significant income into their family on a monthly or annual basis, there are programs and pathways that we can help people build towards that. And I find that that's what I like so much about Immunotech, and again, the integrity and who we are as a culture. I mean, obviously we've gone through all sorts of change, but at our core, we as a corporation are fulfilling one individual's vision, and that was Dr. Bunos and what he saw with his discovery back in 1978. Now here we are, almost 40 years later. So that's me in a nutshell. I could go on for a long time, and if I was part of this community for longer, I'm sure I would share all sorts of more interesting facts about myself.
Thank you, David. That was a great for a first-timer, and we really appreciate you sharing some of the little details that are unique about you. And it's in those little details that we each get to shine. So I'm going to pass this around the room for everybody to respond to you, and maybe each of the three of you could give David 3 bits of information about things you like, either in a business opportunity or in a community when you're looking for a place to invest your time online. So we're going to do the responses in the same order we did, and I'll start with Agnes and let her respond first.
Okay, in terms of community, I quite honestly don't see that Immunotech has one. I did tick the little box that said, yeah, keep me informed, and I'm not sure I've ever had an email from them. Now, in
Can I
terms,
ask, Agnes, do you follow us on Facebook?
No.
Okay. Thank you. I was just curious.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can get that link, certainly. I find I'm just part of so many, business groups and stuff on Facebook that I'm really trying to restrict.
I understand.
But anyways, now, the one thing I did want to mention is, in terms of the website, I ran a Google Master check on it this morning, and apparently it's not mobile friendly, and I think moving into the future, that's going to be really important.
Hugely important. Yes, thank you for that, and it is one of our #1 priorities.
Okay, I was going to say, because Google is really clamping down as of 21 April. So, in terms of ranking and stuff like that, it's going to be more difficult. Now, just judging, and Michael and I just spoke about this really briefly, so I've got notes here. was when I actually registered. It was a slow and painful process. And the first time I went in, I completed part of the app and then I closed it because I had some decisions to make. Now, Michael wasn't even informed that I'd started the process. So, I mean, Immunotech had my email address, and I was quite surprised when he didn't follow up. And when I asked him, he said he had not had any notification. When I did actually complete the app, I had the wheels spinning on the processing end for, I can't remember, but I'm thinking close in the range of half an hour. And once again, I just shut it down only to find out next day that it had actually processed itself. I'm just going to zing through. Now, the tools, they're dated 2009, which in marketing world is ancient.
What specifically, sorry, is dated 2000?
The Immunotech tools for marketing tools.
Oh, you're talking about the electronic postcards and such?
I don't know. I just went into tools, and they talked about marketing, and the stuff that you could still buy was actually dated 2009, which, as I say, is really ancient. Videos, I think, are definitely the way to go. And what would help me, for example, given the fact that I want to be able to offer different opportunities to people depending on their interest level, some of the videos that you've got are really good. Now, whether or not you can offer affiliates an embed code. Now, a couple of reasons is, first of all, it makes it super simple for me to embed that on my own website if I had, an Immunotech page. I think it also makes sure that your affiliates aren't making, random claims that aren't correct. If I'm embedding one of the company videos or some of the company videos, then obviously I'm towing the company line. So I don't know if something like that is a possibility.
I mean, all of your points are bang on, and I mean, there's a number of, just internally, we've shared this with a number of the stakeholders here, investments happening right down to our whole database and how our infrastructure is set up, and the language that everything was coded on here is changing, and it's sort of a massive infrastructure change to be able to get to the places that you're talking about. But Agnes, whether it be mobile friendly, it goes down to is the language that we're programming and coding and friendly with, websites, and we have so much work to do. And hopefully by June, and it may be July of this year, we'll be operating on a new platform, which will allow us to do a lot of what you're talking about.
Oh, that's great.
I know it's sort of one of those things where, because of the platform, we pushed off decisions and or abilities to do certain things. But you're spot on, and in fact, I could spend more time leveraging your obvious time and knowledge about some of the deficiencies. That's you hit some bang, right in the middle of the heart of our online issues.
Well, and the one thing I would like to add is raise the font up. The font is so small.
In the business center you're talking about now?
Anywhere on the website.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Okay, next.
Thank you, Agnes. Wow. I am always impressed at the detail you have and the attention you have to detail. I am so thankful that you're here helping me build my business behind the scenes, because, David, this is one of the half a dozen people on the planet that get how important what I'm doing is. And you might want to thank Agnes, because Agnes has donated over 2 hours a week for the last year and a half on the sidelines here, just because she wants to see my message get out.
Yep.
One thing I will add in, just as an aside, I have a colleague online who did the magic email with me last week, or the magic message on Facebook saying, I really need to talk to you about something I've just discovered. When's a good time to call? So we chatted on Saturday morning, just this past Saturday, and she said, oh, I've found this nutritional company, blah, 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 the whole thing, it's in startup, on and on. I said, well, thank you. You send me the information because I'm always curious about what's out there. However, I'm currently actually using a supplement myself, and I said it's really nice that for me to know that it has an NPN. So of course she said, "What's an NPN?" And I sent her the details via via email on NPN, and I got a very hesitant email back saying, "Oh, well, I've never heard of this. I wonder if this is going to affect my company moving forward or my ability to market. Maybe I need to discuss this with the people at my company." So little details like that, which give Immunotech huge credibility, I think really need to be featured also.
Oh, 100%. And in fact, we just were accepted as prospective members of the UK Direct Selling Association this week. And in my conversations with our branding people in terms of writing our blurb, I was very adamant that we focus on a lot of the stability, credibility, scientific frameworks in our messaging, as I really would like to differentiate Immunotech from some of the startups in our space. Being a publicly traded company requires an additional level of scrutiny, of transparency, of diligence on our part. It also provides some reassurance, I would hope, to our consultant base who know that, am my check going to come out next month, or is the company going to be folded up and gone somewhere? And having the ability to know that the company is strong financially is also another benefit.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Mr. Pocklington, if you could respond for a couple of things that you find interesting or important online in communities or in a potential business opportunity.
Okay. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Peter.
Can I ask whether you are Canadian?
I am born and raised.
Okay.
My sister lives in London.
Which one?
Ontario.
No, the real London.
I heard a trace of the old ice hockey accent there. But I guess I am unique here, Immunotech savvy. So I'm going to just take try and answer your questions as to what is it about the online environment.
I appreciate it.
The things that my number one thing about the online environment is that it saves gas. So from a business perspective, instead of costing me $20 to go and visit a family, I can have them come into my space and on their time work through the details of the presentation. So if we're busy networking, interacting with people, then that has with it a business cost of transportation and time. Second great thing about it is when it is a no-show, when people do stand you up, which people will do all the time, then the cost to me is next.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge benefit when interacting with people is what your business is about. And if I'm hearing this correctly, we're talking about one of my favorite mantras is love, health, love, wealth, love, happiness, love, health, love, wealth, love, happiness, love. So I can sing that as I'm driving to the red light, and I believe you guys are in the health, wealth part with an opportunity to wealth, health, and I guess some of the people are in the wealth, health part, and as a byproduct have health, wealth. So either way, you've got both sides of that equation covered, which is, this is the greatest in the online environment has a business effect for me. the second thing about the online environment is that it does not require a major investment in time to allow people to see you on their time.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So that is a thing. It is a. We are in. I mean, the law of the harvest means so much, and we are in the seed sowing business. We think it's about the fruit, but it's about the seed.
Peter,
And so,
can I ask a question?
You can.
Are you marketing a product or service at all through the internet?
I am the product that I am marketing, in that I educate families. So
Understood.
when families apply the rules, I receive commission from the application of the rules. And when I teach other leaders to be leaders, then as people come into the system, we build larger and larger communities that generate wealth that has multi-layered commissions applied to it, like 20 different ways of being paid.
Okay.
So I hope that answers the question. Did that give you what you needed? Okay.
Yep.
So, business, then teaching. I was teaching about seeds, because the internet, when people are trained properly, allows you to plant a seed and have the growth around that seed to be on the time frame of the person that you were meant to interact with.
Mm-hmm.
And those are quote unquote soft skills. It is my belief that this is success in the internet business is one of those very interesting conundrums, in that although it seems like a random free-for-all, it is the disciplines that you undertake that set you apart.
Yeah, I would agree with that in a lot of different, whether it's online or offline, but I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, your question was with regard to internet, but just to step back and say that the skills to be successful have nothing to do with the tools that you use to be successful. They have to do with your discipline, your internals, your working on yourself, your working, as we do here, to become better communicators, your belief in yourself, your belief in your product, your belief in the company, your blah, blah, blah. So, people, now, vent alert, people piss and moan about not receiving help, but do nothing that deserves anybody's help. Anyway, vent over. Any other questions, David? I mean, hopefully that's giving you something about me and online.
I appreciate it. I do. I guess for my question would be for Robin. If Robin, as you look at yourself as a beginner with interface with technology, what have you found to be the easiest forms and most rewarding or easy to interface with tools or things that you've found? Just where is your comfort level with different things?
I've found most incredibly useful are the John and Jimmy YouTube little things, because they're short and you can send a link to somebody by email, because I know how to do email. And so from a perspective of how easy is it, I would like to see on the website all the little YouTube links somewhere where it's easy for me to see where they are, so that I'm not trying to navigate. And I like the new format. I really like the look of it. But I would like to see, and maybe we even have them and I just haven't run across them, are some similar pieces to do with starting your own business, your taxes, your all the things that are for somebody brand new, the steps to take in a little YouTube, a one-on-one picture of people chatting about how to do a home party, or how to talk to a prospect who is a teacher, or how to talk to, like a little role-playing sort of thing. And I think maybe some company-sanctioned stories of both the health and the wealth. And by the way, Peter, we also offer the love. That's one thing that Immunotech has been very strong with. That for so many of us, our motivation is loving others and needing to be in service.
So what I'm clear on is more video, both presentation and training in any form, whether it be for Immunotech or whatever, but that's your comfort level in consuming information is through video.
Yes, because it's short, for one thing, and I can choose the different topics, so I wouldn't have to be following a big format, and then some things that I wouldn't be ready for, or I can pick and choose what I'm ready for and when. Yes.
Thanks, Robin.
My answer is yes.
Agnes put her hand up. I'm sure she would like to chime in.
Rock on, Agnes.
Agnes, we have no audio.
The lights are on, but no one's home.
Michael Pierce muted Agnes.
I did not. I'll unmute her.
There we go. I'm fine. Can you hear me?
Now you're good. Now you're
okay. No, I had coughed earlier and muted myself, so I'm sorry. Anyways, having watched an Immunical video earlier today, out of curiosity, it still had the YouTube link on the bottom bar, so I clicked it, and sure enough went to Immunical. Now this particular, because it's on the Immunotech website, was by Corp Immunotech. And what my suggestion is, and I mean, videos, great, love them, put them in playlists. Because what I believe that does is make sure that on the right-hand bar now, you will only get Immunotech sanctioned videos. Whereas right now, what I've got is a Powur networking person saying, got cancer? Get Immunical. I've got Simon Sinek saying, why leaders eat last. I've got just
it's not the first person that I've had this conversation with.
Okay.
There's more to it, but the playlist is something I'll bring to our social media coordinator and try to see where their heads at.
Either that, or just you can embed videos without the YouTube link in them at all.
I know, and we've used a tool like I don't know if it's Vimo or Vimeo. It is also for videos where they sit on a corporate page.
But if you do like AWS, then there's a link to nothing. Like it's on your website and that's it.
Yeah. Well, the video library is on our website. If you actually go to the homepage and on the bottom right where it says video library, they're all there.
Oh yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's how I linked from there onto YouTube.
Got it. Okay.
So to have them within playlists on YouTube is great, but also maybe just embed them without, like as I say, with AWS or something.
Well, this is I'm taking notes. This is a bit beyond my my thought process. My my goal is where I and I'm being selfish about this is I'm trying to explore where conversations are being had on the internet. And for example, my mother was a blogger with WordPress, and she would put out, I don't know, 10,000 words a week. I mean, it was just, she was a big blogger, and she had followers on her blog, and she followed other blogs, and that was her online experience. Where others I know are addicted to Facebook, and they, read about everyone's life and live vicariously through people, but exist in a Facebook environment. I consume a lot of my news through my Twitter feed, where, I don't really like to spend an hour and a half watching the news, and I can editorialize my own information by knowing what kind of feeds I want to get, and I can scroll through and edit, sort of pre-edit what I'm going to get pushed. But in terms of where we can empower our consultants to interact within their communities, I'm trying to best understand how people are pushing information about Immunotech. And what I'm hearing is that videos are an important and effective tool for communicating messages, that shortness is important, and then where I'm sort of missing, and Agnes, you talk about having a number of different revenue generating tools online. Where does the distinction come between, in your mind, and not necessarily from a marketing point of view, from a name or an email or a friend list or contact list into a prospect within a sales funnel? How do you move people from those lists into that process, and have you structured any systems around that?
My systems that I'm structuring currently are all to do with business in general and developing online business. But it comes down to the know, like, and trust. I mean, the reason people followed your mother's blog was because they got to know her through her blog, they liked her through her blog, and if she had brought up a product, they would have trusted her through her blog. And that's what I encourage people to do, and that's certainly where I get my following from, is because what I offer and what I talk about is information. I mean, and they say information sells, but these days it's you've got to fine tune it to education sells.
Absolutely.
So even if the company had copywriters who could, whether it's daily or every couple of days, put out, okay, here's our blog posts for the day, here's our Twitter feed, here's our whatever, and have people make it just shareable. So as a consultant / affiliate, whatever you want to call me, if I want to write something about, like a blog post about a product that I like at Immunotech, then I know, and you know, that I'm just not flying by the seat of my pants. I've got accurate information, and it's presented the way the company wants it presented. Same as Twitter bursts, like if you just want to tweet something, if you're just sharing what the company's tweeted that day, but that's got to feed into our networks as well.
I agree with you, and this is good, because the concept that we've been working with Salesfloor is that now, we've created 12 content pieces in the month that we've had it out, but it would be something that, whether it's 1 or 2 a week, and whether we had to, engage more copywriters to help increase that level, and, because when we do them, it's in 3 languages and just translations and such. But I think that if it's creating content that is unique and educational, but also at the same time helping promote, whether it be the product or health benefits of the product or of the opportunity, that this would be helpful for people to share. I think we're on the right path, and that's reassuring.
Can I just jump in?
Please.
I don't know how far you are down the line, but I would to caution against or throw out a word of caution, because there is no right, there is no wrong, there just is. But beware of
What?
Wonderful hangout technology. Give him a second.
We lost you, Peter.
No, well, I don't know what the last thing you heard, but
Beware.
I'm saying beware of beware of trained monkey syndrome. What I mean by that is when you're successful and have 1,000 people cutting and pasting the blog of the day, you lose credibility, don't gain it.
It's actually, we had this conversation yesterday, and Michael stimulated that conversation with a comment he made to me about unique posts going out on Facebook. It's very interesting you say the same thing. I'm sure you and Michael think along the same lines on that point.
I think, though, in terms of product, it doesn't hurt to
That's an
have.
honest to know.
I was just going to say, I think in terms of product, it doesn't hurt to have, you know, the post of the day. I mean, where Michael would differ from me is in the personal story. So in the endorsement, that sort of thing. So obviously, I am less likely to write about recuperating from a heart attack because I've never had one. The best I could do is say, go see Michael's Health Answers. You know, so we're all going to bring our own bent to whatever our story is.
Thank you. In terms of the financial reward for referring somebody, Agnes, you're a user of Immunical. You may be aware of our compensation structure. If you were remunerated, say, 25% on the purchases of everyone who you referred to use the product, rather than whatever you are today, would it be more interesting to you as a financial plan? Would that change your perception of the efforts required to generate business?
Personally, no, because, and this is once again personal, because I also market business systems where one sale can generate me anywhere between $1,000 and $8,000.
Okay.
So in terms of Immunotech, it would just be a business / product that I like and feel good about recommending if somebody is looking for that sort of an opportunity.
Understood. I appreciate it. I appreciate your answer. I know that, Michael, you asked me for an hour. I see that I have my superior outside my office looking if I can answer a question for him, and I was hoping to detach. Is there anything I can help with before I go and make him happy?
You've made us happy, David.
Well, I don't know about that. I really appreciate
David, you have no superiors. David, you have no superiors.
I'll go tell him that.
Some other time, David?
Bye, David.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
He's quite clear.
Oh, Spice Girl!
And that wasn't said mockingly, honestly, it wasn't. It's really nice to have someone come on a call who you really feel is listening. So
yeah. He really wants to know.
Well, on a move forward. Now, can I ask, what's the sales floor? Have I missed something?
Okay, if you follow the link in the chat, it takes you to the new Immunotech interface I started playing with 2 weeks ago.
And beta test.
Oh, I see, okay.
They've been spending money like crazy on this new technology that allows you to broadcast to all your social medias. It turns out when I scrape the emails, it doesn't email them directly to their email. It broadcasts to their feed anytime I send out a broadcast. The only people that get emailed are the ones designated on my contact list, and I can decide whether or not I want to add them to each broadcast. Does that explain a little bit better, Agnes?
Yeah, I'll go in and take a look. I don't have my Facebook open right now, but I'll go take a look.
Yeah, and you won't have access to this beta platform. I had to be sworn in and logged on, and yeah, it's kind of complicated. But one of the discussions I'm having with David is when I can release it to my people. One of the things I'm working on is a way to monopolize what they're already doing to my downline's benefit, and that's one of my rewards for participating. So you guys will be the first people to have an option to use the new technology as soon as it's available to anybody they know.
That's great.
But I can let you have a look at how the things are structured and the ability to, it actually has an autoresponder connection. You can connect to your Aweber, I understand. So you give it the API for your Aweber, and it sends your contacts that log in on the company website to your autoresponder, which I thought was a real forward-thinking step for an MLM company based on medical research.
So it works into my emails then, or do they have an email/sales funnel that it will just attach, like I attach through my Aweber?
All they've got right now is a simple autoresponder with 12 preloaded company emails that you can personalize the header and the header and the first 100 words.
Okay.
They haven't got live link published yet, but that's the next step, is so we can publish live links to our own YouTubes and our own blog posts. I've talked with the guy at Salesforce once. The owner of the company spent an hour with me a week ago on Friday, and he plans to spend an hour this Friday. He says that I should be able to add the Salesforce platform as a subdomain and create a tab on my blog so that I can have their new company page as a tab on my blog, and what that will allow me to do is to use their contact booking calendar where I can book in real time my customers for a one-on-one communication. And the other thing is there's ability to text to chat live from your new interface. So when people come, they'll have the option to chat with you. Your phone will get a ring if you have the app installed in your phone, and you can pick it up and text in your phone to the person on your blog or on your company replicated website, which is a huge step forward in technology from anything I've seen from a food company, at least.
So they're moving into the 21st century.
Quickly moving into the 21st century. I did a little bit of research on Salesforce, and they're listed in the top 20 up-and-coming tech companies in Eastern Canada right now. So you know, Canada isn't huge on the tech scale, but to be mentioned in the top 20 anywhere is kind of cool. So they did some research. Obviously, David learned something where he was, and he's brought back the technology from whatever sales company he was working in the back office for, because this technology was actually adapted from a retail environment, and the owner of the company spent 12 years at Avon developing their webinar system. So there's a bunch of things, coincidences. Goodbye, Robin. Thank you. I'm going to stop the broadcast. Thank you all for coming and sharing and helping educate David, because I think for the first time Immunotech's found somebody that really wants to fix stuff.
That's good.
And I'm inspired to try again, because I was out the door a month ago. I couldn't have told them how close I was to gone. I showed up at a webinar 3 weeks ago. David was on the call, and literally it would have otherwise been my last ever company call. I was done. So I was just so frustrated because nobody was listening.
Pardon, Peter?
Listen, so it all works.
There are no coincidences, only divine appointments we set by our decisions.
Yes, and thank you for helping me be patient enough to get to the result, because quite often people are so angry and distracted it hasn't happened yet, they miss the outcome for all the hard work they did.
Yep, monkey chat. Okie dokie. So you finished?
We're good.
Bye all.
If I only knew how to turn this thing off, then.
Hover at the top, little red thing appears. Leave call.
Yeah.